After 2 months of living in LA, I got an email from Khloé Kardashian's team. I was like, is this real?
I am in the chair with celebrity makeup artist Ash K Holm. Today she's going to be doing my makeup while we chat top tips, career highlights and insider secrets. So Ash, let's take it all the way back to the start. Tell me how you got into makeup.
I'm so excited for this. Thanks for having me. So I have always been so in love with makeup. And also while we get into this conversation, I'm going to do your glam too, if that's
Brilliant.
okay.
Please.
Let's do a full-on Morphe look while we chat. So I'm going to start off by basing your eyes with the new Solo Artist Priming Cream eyeshadow. I've always been just so in love and fascinated by the beauty industry, and I knew it early on. I started working at MAC while I was in cosmetology school, and I stayed with MAC for so many years. I worked at one of the biggest stores in Houston, Texas. That's where I grew up. I'll have you look down for me. And it was a great experience because while I was working there, I realized that I had such like a love for education, and I knew that I wanted to be a trainer for the store. I worked really closely with the resident trainer, and I practiced public speaking for years and just kind of taught myself everything. And that's really the only way to learn, is to just throw yourself into it. Now that we have your eyes based, I'm going to be going in with the new Morphe eyeshadows. I'm so excited about this because you probably grew up on the 35 pan palettes, right? Okay.
Yeah. Nothing you couldn't do.
Oh my God, there's nothing you couldn't do, but so excited because nothing you can't do with these either. It has this incredible like one swipe pigmentation because it's a Chroma Plus blend. So I'm going to try this on your eyes. So I worked really hard to practice my public speaking, and also I learned how to just kind of like conduct a room while I was educating. So I started off doing master classes with the customers, and these are just everyday people. So I would literally work at the store, and I remember helping 50 people a day. That's a lot of people of like all different complexions, skin tones, ethnicities, like all walks of life. So I feel like it just helped me get the reps in. And I think with anything in life, you have to get the reps in before you can really master your craft. So they always say like you need at least like 10 years to be doing something to really be a master at it, to be a professional, to just really like own that space. And I feel like I put the work in before I moved to LA, which was really important. When the time came to actually interview for this position, I didn't get it. And it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because what that meant was that I could actually kind of spread my wings and fly. And I think sometimes when one door closes, another door opens. And I'll never forget that because it really changed my life and the trajectory of my life when I didn't get what I worked so hard for. So I decided that, since I'm a big fish in a small pond, why don't I just start my freelance career right now? It was the scariest thing ever to not have that consistency in my schedule. But what I didn't realize was that I would work every single day after I left, and it was the best thing that ever happened. And while I was at MAC, though, I ended up working with like one of my first celebrities, Lily Galici. So she's like an entrepreneur, businesswoman, and this was like the beginning of Instagram. I would post every day. I was super consistent. And I also want to mention that too, like whatever it is that you want to do in life, you have to be extremely consistent and disciplined and resilient, and you can literally take yourself all the way to the top. What you're doing is like you're getting your work out there for other people to see. And I saw the power behind it. I was like, this is an incredible business tool. Why wouldn't I post every day? And I'm so inspired by what everyone else is doing on social media. And people were finding my work through the internet. And so I just felt there was so much, beauty behind that. I would say B-listers, C-listers, D-listers would come to Houston. They would find me through hashtags like Houston MUA. I don't know. It worked back then. It worked. And I ended up getting to do Lily Galici. And then from there, I got to do Carmen Electra. And it kind of just showed me that I love the feeling of being able to work with really powerful, influential women. And I wanted more of that. So I knew I had to move to LA. Me and my boyfriend were now married, but like we left together and just started this new life. And it was the best thing I ever did. After 2 months of living in LA, I got an email from Khloé Kardashian's team saying she's going to be in Houston for New Year's Eve. And I was freaking out. I was like, is this real?
Completely out of the blue.
Out of the blue. I had just gotten engaged like 2 days ago on Christmas.
Oh
so
my God.
so I had thought, oh, I'll just spend time with my family. And I looked at my fiance and I was like, what should I do? Is this real? And he was like, you have to fly back to Houston. She obviously thought I lived in Houston and no one knew that I lived in LA because I had to rebuild myself moving there.
Mhm.
And so I ended up flying back and I'm doing her makeup. And I didn't tell her until like the end of Glam that I actually don't live here. I just wanted to make it all about her and just like kind of soak up this moment. And I ended up telling her, and she was so touched by that. She was like, I can't believe you flew all the way back for me. And, obviously I said I would love to work with you. Everyone has their teams, and it takes time to be someone's like number one, like you have to put the work in and they have to feel like they can trust you. She ended up using me throughout the years of living in LA. And now we're like this, and I love her so much. And, working with Khloé and the family has just been like the biggest gift.
Yeah.
So the rest is history.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
an intimate thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
And space.
it is. It really is.
And so you've obviously worked on some of the world's most famous, recognizable faces as well. Of all the looks, is there one that kind of stands out for you as a favorite?
Ooh, that is such a hard one.
It's like picking a favorite.
Yes, it's like picking a favorite child. That's so hard. Okay, one of my favorite looks of all time is a look that I did on Megan Fox for the VMAs. This was like 2021. It was when she walked the carpet and she was like almost nude in this like see-through dress with wet hair, and the skin was almost like wet and luminescent in like the right places, and the eyes were like silky, bronzy tones and textures. It just complemented the whole look. And I think when you work together as a team and something doesn't like outshine the other in terms of like hair, outfit, makeup, that's how you make a look a moment. I remember leading up to that look, we would all talk. Like I knew what she was doing for nails, hair, styling, all of it. And you really have to think of all of those elements and how you can like do your best work. How can I give my highest level? I need to know what everyone else is doing. And we all worked together and it was just incredible. And I'll never forget that because we broke the internet, truly.
You did, you
Yeah.
certainly did. So that's a big factor for you then, sort of taking into account the hair and the outfit. Quite
Yes.
tricky, sometimes the outfit might change last minute.
Okay, so that brings me to another story. I remember when I was doing J.Lo for the Met Gala, her team told me that she was wearing Ralph Lauren and that Ralph Lauren had like 4 or 5 sketches of the gown she was going to be wearing.
Mhm.
So I had no idea what she was going to be wearing. So I came up with mood boards for all of these outfits. Like I had like 20 looks for each mood board. I had to bring those shades and those tones and those textures and like come up with lip, skin, the whole every element of the face for each look. My kit was so heavy going to New York City. Like if you knew how heavy this kit
Oh, a
was,
suitcase.
you would have quit. No, I'm just kidding. When you're at this level in your career, it's so important to have all the things that you need and to show up as the highest level of professionalism that you can possible. So that means staying up late, working on those mood boards, working ahead of time, and then she picked one right on the spot. So I was like, okay,
Great.
great. I'm glad I have 20 looks in my pocket that can just pull out, So I always am appreciative of clients like that because they've made me better.
It keeps you on your game.
It keeps you on your game, exactly.
So your makeup style is all about that sort of signature, sculpted, kind of flawless glam. Can you explain to me, say if you have a new client, what is your approach?
If I have a new client, my goal is really to just do as much research on them as possible. So I think this goes for anybody too when you're working with somebody new. You should do your research. I like to go on Getty Images and see how do they photograph?
Mm.
What looks did they do on previous red carpets? What am I going to do that's different, that's unique to my style, but also putting their touch on it and keeping them looking like themselves. So it's also really important to go on their Instagram because if they posted it, that's probably how they like to look. So you need to like remember to keep some of those elements, but then also transform in a way that feels it's them, but it's also you, and it's this beautiful blend.
And do you have any sort of signature techniques
me?
that you rely on?
One of my favorite makeup techniques is like just elongating the eyes. And a lot of the times I like to do this with eyeshadow. It's the way you blow it out and shape the eyes. You can do this with like a really, precise line that you clean up, or you can keep it really soft and blown out with like your blending brushes. I feel like the eyes are the first thing that we look at. When you're talking to someone, you go directly to their eyes. So I'm like, how can I do someone's eyes in a way that it's natural, it works for them, or it's dramatic and maybe that's better. I'll find like, cream contour products. I love cream blushes. I think when you add like those creamy elements into the skin, it just makes it look more like skin. And I'll show you too what I've done so far on this eye. I'm going to add some neutral tones as well. And we're going to mix cool and warm tones.
Why are we going to do that?
Because sometimes I feel like it just brings this beautiful harmony together, so the eye isn't too warm and it's not too cool, it's just right in the middle, so you can see the difference. So I
Mhm.
cleaned up this side with a little bit of concealer, but you can see how it's blown out. And now I'm gonna go in with some cool tones.
Nice.
And if you ever put too much eyeshadow too high and you're like, "You know what? That wasn't the direction I wanna go, and I wanna change my eye shape or change the eyeshadow shape," you can just take your concealer brush with whatever's left over and you can go over this area and it just softens everything up. And I'm just using a little bit of concealer on you. This is from the Morphe Wake Up Artist collection. So what's great about this is that the formula really moves with your facial expression. So it doesn't really settle into fine lines, which is
Mhm.
great. So I'm just taking my 134 Morphe brush and I'm just using it to kind of clean up. You already had a little bit of concealer on, so I'm just kind of going on top of that area, and your concealer was so light, so it's not really disrupting what I'm doing here. And then I'm gonna go in with a blending brush that's actually an eyeshadow brush. I love this one for concealer. So it's the M332. It's the same brush I use in the crease of your eyes, but it's also incredible to use for concealer because you can kind of just like pinpoint the concealer right where you need it, and it just feathers it out in a really natural way.
So, do you want to talk us through some ride or dies?
I can't live without my Cheek Thrills blushes. Like, I have to have all of them on me at all times because you get 3 formulas in one. You have your cream blush, and then in the middle, you have this, like, really beautiful glowy tone.
Mhm.
So it's like it just gives this, like, highlighted blush effect, and then you have your powder blush. So if you do all 3, your blush isn't going anywhere. It's not moving. And there's also a new product that I've been using and I'm obsessed with, the Shape Lifter. So this is like a very detailed contour. I'm going to use it on your lips too. And I'm going to show you. So you can use this anywhere on the face, eyes, and sculpt. It's also incredible for the nose. Chin down a little bit. I'll actually show you right here. So you can do these like 2 little lines just like this, and you can blend it out. So you can even blend this with your fingertip too. It just depends on like what's best for you, what you love to do in terms of blending. But I'm gonna go in with another blending brush and you can just build it up. You can do a little bit more, but it's amazing for like that sculpted detail work. You can even just like go into the eyes with this as well. It's beautiful. I love it for the lips too, because it kind of like gets your lips going before lip liner.
Mhm.
So you guys got to stay on the lookout for these when they launch.
You've got great lips.
Thank you. The lip liner helps. Thanks.
So, what are you doing here? You're sort of creating definition.
Yes. I'm just taking another detailed eyeshadow brush. It's the 383 brush. Amazing on the eyes, but also on the lips as well, because you can just kind of go in and like buff the edges of the lip without taking it outside of the line. So you need something dense. I also feel like I couldn't live without eyeshadow. For a couple of years, we haven't really been seeing eyeshadow as much. And I don't really understand why that is because I love eyeshadow. I just don't get it. It's like the clean girl makeup has just taken over after COVID, and I'm obsessed with eyes, and I'm so happy that they're
You love a
finally.
smoky eye, don't you?
I mean, I love just like I love a wing liner. I feel like I'm Middle Eastern, so like I just love the eye area, whether that's just like a wing liner, a Charlie XCX like smudgy wing,
Mm.
a little bit of soft smoke like in the outer corner like you have, because I feel like a smoky eye you can make it with browns, with neutrals. It can be monochromatic in any tone. But I personally love like neutrals. I'm just going to take this really beautiful champagne tone and I'm going to pop this just on the center of your eyes. And that's all you need. Just kind of press it on and go, or you can blend with a brush as well. And we're just making the eyes a little more glam. This is like my finishing touch to so many looks that you can do just by adding this really beautiful molten metal on the eye. It is like my favorite texture. When I do blush placement, I always like to think about like the person's face shape too. I feel like for your face shape, it would be really pretty to keep it a little bit higher. And it's nice because you can actually do some of your sculpting on your face with your blush. And we haven't done any contour yet other than the lips and the nose. So this is a perfect time to sculpt with blush and just to see how much blush we actually need. And this is great because then that way you don't bring your contour in too far. You kind of like let the blush do the work for you in the beginning. So I'm going in with the Cheek Thrills blush and Beach Bonfire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically use the outer corner of the iris like as the guide. Okay, so I'm just going to press right here and I'm just going to stipple the product in. I feel like when you stipple it in, it doesn't really like move anything around. But you can even like take your fingertips and like blend out the rest. It's just really workable, you know, on the face. But you see how it's like much higher. I feel like it kind of just like lifts the face. And then I always like to take a little bit and put it right over the nose. Another one of my favorite tricks is I always take the blush and I apply it in like vertical sections, like right here above the brow. And this just brings like more life into the skin. So you don't just have like your foundation all over. It's like you really bring that harmony throughout the face.
I'd love to know whose makeup you find endlessly inspiring, whether that's past or present.
I would say Rihanna.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that her makeup artist and her work really well together, and I feel like she's always bringing like fresh looks, and she plays with, you know, different textures and color a lot. I feel like she's not afraid to step outside the box with like a really intense bold lip, a black lip liner. Like she'll go for it in the right moments.
And do you like when clients kind of give you free rein to do what you like?
I do. I do. I'm always like, are you sure? Because I work with some of the most famous people in the world. They're A-listers, right? So they have a very important image to keep up with. And that's why they hire me to help them with their image. And it's such a compliment. But at the same time, I understand that we need to keep up with that specific image. And there's ways that I can bring my special touch to each look that I do. But I love that though, because then I feel like we get to work together on it. And that's what's important.
Mhm.
So I'm just going to add the Makeup Talk shade. This is a really pretty, it's kind of like a warm and cool tone.
Obviously, everyone's totally different, but I'd love to know if there's one sort of universal piece of makeup advice that you could give.
There's no rules when it comes to makeup. Okay, I think that so many times we're on social media and we're trying to keep up with trends and we fall into like these trend rabbit holes, right? And it's like, this is the way now to do contour your lips or vice versa. Really just do what you like and what you love. And if that's what you're doing, I think that you can't lose. Instead of chasing trends, I am someone that just like I go for a classic look. I do things that speak to me. So right now I'm just using this middle shade that has more of like this glowy blush texture to it. So I'm just patting this a little bit higher right on top. And now I want to go in and just add a little sculpting to your face and mascara. So from the Sudden Heat Contour Stick Collection, I'm using the shade Ignite. This is a really pretty tone for you. It's a little bit cool, but it has like, I think it has a hint of warmth to it, but it's mainly cool. Okay, so I'm going to start in the hairline just to bring back some warmth and some shading into the skin. And you want to make sure that there's like no line of demarcation. So like staying close to the hairline is really important. So you have amazing cheekbones. I can see exactly where I need to place them. But if you're watching this and you're not really sure of where to place them, I would say like look directly straight right now. Okay, so you can see that the shadow is hitting you right here. Like it's creating this like natural shadow right here. So if that's where it's hitting you, you can take this stick and just place it like that, turn to the side and so you can see. So just right there. And what you're going to do is use like the edge of this brush and it's going to give you more control because it has such like a sculpted shape to it. And I'm just keeping it in this controlled area. So on this side, I'm looking to see where the natural shadow falls. It's right here. So that's all the contour you need. And then kind of blending upward, keeping everything right in this area. So that's your guide. And then going back in with my sponge, just right up to where you placed it. You don't really need to go any higher than that.
I'd love to know, lots of your clients, they've got sort of long red carpet events and perhaps a full day of press. What are you doing to lock in that makeup all day?
Oh my God, this is such a good one. You cannot forget about your setting spray. So this is the mini continuous setting mist. You can use this before makeup, but I love it after. I'm actually about to use this on you right now. I'm gonna powder your forehead and then let's set you. Just taking a little bit of the loose powder right in the T-zone. I like to do down the center and the sides and then like an X. So you really get the whole entire area. And I'm going to go in and do a little bit of brow shaping. So this is a new product that actually hasn't launched yet. So this is the Nano Brow Pencil. And I have yet to see a brow pencil this skinny. So you have great brow. So I'm just going to start right here at the tail and just define a little bit more in the arch and in the tail. And I'm going to make just little flicks of hair in an upward, outward direction, kind of in like the direction that your hair is already laying.
What is one thing you wish more people knew about brows?
I think with brows sometimes like less is more. I think years ago we used to start with brows, and then sometimes when you start with your brows, you're really making it about the brows. It's like you end up putting too much product a lot of the time. Your hand is too heavy, but when you do them at the end and you kind of see where the makeup direction went,
Hmm.
you know exactly where to place it at that point. Okay, top you off with some mascara. Okay, so this is the finished look. How do you feel?
Yeah, I love it. So nice. And it's so different to what I would normally do.
I kind of love that too. We didn't have any consultation. I just went for it.
Yeah, free reign. Lovely.
So stunning.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.